What if I told you the global economy, this vast, intricate machine of banks, corporations, governments, and markets, runs on the same skeleton as a scam, that every dollar you earn, every pension you think you're building, every mortgage payment you make, is not part of a stable, grounded system, but part of a structure that must always grow, always expand, always recruit new believers beneath you, and that the only reason this structure hasn't crumbled already is because those at the top, governments, banks, central banks, keep feeding it new recruits, new credit, new illusions. Most people never see it, most people never question it, and yet the truth sits in plain sight. The question is not if the system breaks, it's who gets crushed when it does. But to understand why, we must begin where all dangerous truths begin, with a definition. A pyramid scheme isn't mysterious, it's brutally simple. A pyramid scheme promises extraordinary returns, but it produces no real value. It pays the early believers with the money from the new believers. Charles Ponzi made the idea infamous in 1920 when he promised a 50% profit in 90 days. People poured their life savings into his dream, and he paid them, handsomely, using money from the next wave of suckers. But mathematics does not lie. Each layer needed more people than the layer before it. And because no pyramid can grow forever, the collapse was inevitable. Ponzi went to prison. His investors lost everything. And the world said, never again, but never again, turned into a century of reinvention, because while Ponzi's version was illegal, the logic behind it was not. Strip away the legal language, the layers of institutions, the illusions of stability, and the modern global economy runs on the same engine. Governments borrow trillions, not from value they've created, but from the future incomes of people who haven't been born. Corporations borrow to fund stock buybacks, not innovation. Households survive on credit cards and mortgages, where the principal hardly moves but the interest never stops, and the money itself, the part that feels most real, it doesn't exist the way you think. It's not backed by gold or silver or anything you can touch. It materializes the moment a bank approves a loan. Most people never grasp this. Most never realize that under fractional reserve banking, your $1,000 deposit can be multiplied into several thousand more, created from nothing but the promise of repayment. Everyone feels richer, but nothing real has been produced, just claims, stacked on top of each other, like a pyramid, and it works only as long as faith holds. When faith cracks, the pyramid wobbles. When faith disappears, it collapses. This isn't a new phenomenon, it's a slow, centuries-long mutation. After World War II, the Bretton Woods system tied the U.S. dollar to gold. It was supposed to anchor the world economy with something real. But in 1971, President Nixon severed that link. Gold was gone, restraint was gone, and the modern era of fully fiat money began. Money backed only by belief, but belief is fragile, faith is temporary. And to keep the illusion alive, governments promised one thing: growth forever, growth funded by debt, growth fueled by inflation, growth extracted from your labor, your time, your life. If that sounds like the structure of a pyramid, that's because it is. Take pensions. People imagine their contributions are saved somewhere, waiting for them. They're not. Today's retirees are paid by younger workers paying in today, exactly like a pyramid. As long as the base grows, the system survives, but birth rates are falling, life expectancy is rising, and the math is turning against the structure. Japan knows this, Italy knows this, the United States is beginning to see it. A shrinking base, a widening top, a pyramid leaning under its own weight. Governments patch the cracks by borrowing more, printing more, promising more. But every patch makes the system more fragile, not less. Housing, another pyramid. Homes don't rise in price because of their inherent worth. They rise because new buyers, powered by more data, are willing to pay more than the last person. Every boom requires new entrants at the bottom. But today, affordability has collapsed, the base is shrinking. And when a pyramid loses its base, its collapse is not gradual, it's catastrophic. Financial markets, same story. Stock prices rise not because companies earn more, but because someone else promises to buy for more tomorrow. Crypto, a pure psychological pyramid. Early adopters win only if late adopters arrive in masses. But the biggest pyramid architect is always the central bank. In 2008, when the housing pyramid crumbled, the Federal Reserve stepped in, not to fix the system, but to inflate it again. They printed trillions, called it quantitative easing, and pumped life into markets that had already died. Losses were absorbed by the public, profits were captured by the elites, and the pyramid not only survived, it expanded. You paid the price through inflation, through lower purchasing power, through a future mortgaged deeper into debt. History offers the same warning in different costumes. The South Sea Bubble of 1720, the Great Depression of the 1930s, Japan's asset bubble of the 1980s, each followed the same sequence, a system addicted to expansion, a belief that prices could rise forever, a crash when reality returned. The global economy today is no different, only bigger. Global debt now exceeds $300 trillion, 3 times the entire world's annual economic output. That means humanity owes 3 years of global labor before breaking even, and yet politicians insist the answer is more debt, more growth, more expansion, a pyramid so vast that its survival now depends on every generation feeding the next, but fewer are able to, and even fewer are willing. Inflation is the quiet blood. Sacrifice this pyramid demands. Prices don't rise just because of supply chains or shortages. They rise because new money floods in every time governments and central banks rescue the system. When money grows faster than value, your savings evaporate. Inflation is not a mistake. It is the cost of keeping the illusion alive, and demographics, they might be the death blow. Pension systems require more workers than retirees. But the base is shrinking. Japan now sells more adult diapers than baby diapers. That is not just a demographic statistic. It is a forecast of economic collapse. Europe follows. America follows. Even China is beginning the same descent. Every crisis of the last century, depression, oil shocks 2008, the pandemic, features the same government response, not a reset, not reform, but expansion. Expand the debt, expand the money supply, expand the pyramid, push the reckoning deeper into the future. Meanwhile, those at the top profit. Banks earn interest on money they created from thin air. Corporations leverage debt to enrich executives. Politicians promise benefits they'll never have to pay for. And you, the worker, the saver, the latecomer, are left to absorb the inflation, the stagnation, the collapse. The pyramid analogy matters because once you see it, you can't unsee it. The global economy doesn't collapse outright because governments have powers Ponzi never did, printing money, taxing citizens, enforcing laws, waging wars to secure resources. But the structure is the same. Endless expansion, endless belief, endless new money, and no pyramid can expand forever. So what can you do? First, stop assuming the system is built to protect you. It's not. Inflation, debt, bailouts, these are not accidents. They are survival mechanisms of the pyramid. Second, learn what real wealth is, not promises on a screen, not digits in an account. Real wealth is skills, networks, productive assets, things that survive even when trust does not. And finally, remember this. Financial freedom will never arrive from governments or corporations. It will come from understanding the system so deeply that you no longer fall for its illusions. The global economy may not be a pyramid scheme on paper, but in structure, in psychology, in consequence it rhymes with one, and when the base weakens, when belief falters, the fall is always brutal. History doesn't repeat, but it rhymes, and this rhyme is a warning. If you mistake a pyramid for a foundation, it will collapse beneath you. If this gave you a new perspective, leave your thoughts in the comments. And subscribe to the Fiscal Archivist because history has the answers. I'll show you where to look.